Do you believe the price of silver and gold could skyrocket? I'm talking 5x, 10x, 15x, maybe even more from where we are right now. In this video, we're going to talk about why right now is just like the 1970s. But more importantly, we're going to look at what happened in the 70s, and even more importantly, why the conditions that created these unbelievable returns for silver and gold in the 1970s, those same conditions are in place right now, and the argument can be made that they're even more exaggerated. We might see even greater returns for the precious metals. But thank you for joining me here in the basement. I know you love to hear about gold and silver. We're basement dwellers. We love to talk about precious metals. We even have crypto people who are wanting to learn about silver and gold. Everyone is welcome here. Please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and share it with anyone you like, including your grandparents or even your grandchildren. But let's talk about first what happened in the 1970s. It's incredible. We forget what happened to the price of silver and gold in the 1970s. And I have a document prepared for you that I want to share here that will just drive home silver, 27x. The period from 1970 through 1980 saw one of the most dramatic and rapid price increases in silver history. Okay, silver price started the early 1970s at around $1.30 to $1.80 per ounce. The incredible surge to the peak, the price of silver began to rise significantly in the late 1970s, culminating in an extraordinary surge. By January of 1980, silver reached its all-time nominal high, with some sources reporting a peak of around $50 per ounce. Guys, silver went from about $1.50 per ounce all the way to $50 per ounce. Some people saying as much as 27x. Now, 2,700% or 27x. Now, gold went up by 20x during that period. Gold started the 70s at an unofficial rate of around $35 to $40 per ounce and surged to an astonishing $850 per ounce by early 1980. Easily a 20x. These are absolute shocking numbers to think about for both silver and gold. If we think about now, even just a 10x. Look, silver went up 27x. Gold went up, right? Almost 20x. If we put a 10 times multiple on the current silver price, we're talking $350 per ounce. A 20 times multiple would be $700 per ounce. Gold, what if gold went up 10x, right? Less than what it did in the 1970s. We'd have gold at what? $33,000, $32,000 per ounce. And that's all good and well for us to sit around and dream about that. But what conditions do we have in place? What caused that? And how does that relate to where we are right now? It's stagflation. Stagflation, the S word. We've been banging the table here in the basement about it for years. You know, I know. Stagflation is a stagnant economy with inflation. What did we just hear last week? Right? The PCE numbers. Inflation is going up. Inflation is not. Do you really think that inflation is going to go away? No, inflation will continue and continue. Inflation is the same thing as devaluation of the dollar, and we aren't going to waste your valuable time talking about why the dollar is inevitably going to go down in real value, and that will create inflation. When the price at the store goes up for milk, eggs, whatever floats your boat you like to buy at the store, when the price goes up, that means the value of the dollar is going down. That's inevitable. But what about the economy? We're getting warning signals everywhere in the economy. I think one that nobody's really paying attention to is the fact that new college grads aren't getting jobs right now. Okay, we know how difficult it is out there in the economy. So what drove those crazy price increases, stagflation during the 1970s, those conditions are in place right now. As a matter of fact, I want to read this to you. Federal Reserve Bank of New York President John Williams, old John, said he expects slower growth, that would be the stag, and higher inflation this year. That would be the inflation. That is stagflation. Now, what makes it even more insane, even crazier right now, guys, is that the situation, the debt situation in this country is multiple times worse now than it was in the 1970s. And we know that foreign countries aren't wanting to buy our debt. So when we look at what happened to the price of silver and gold in the 1970s, unbelievable returns, we'll say minimum 10x, and we compare the conditions now to the conditions back then, we're not crazy to think that we can get a 10x in the price of silver and gold. I understand it feels like fantasy land. I completely get it. But the reality is that is within the realm of possibilities. Now, look, I'm just telling you what I see when I look out there. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't make any financial decisions based on anything that I say. But while we're at it, if you do decide that you want to get your hands on some silver, please support our channel sponsor, First Mint. They make the gold and silver Ron's Basement content possible. As a matter of fact, I pulled this out. This is one of Susie's favorite. You know, upstairs Susie, right? Talks to us on the walkie-talkie. She's not here right now. But this is a 5-ounce bar that I got from First Mint, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's like the perfect size, and if you can look here, it's quite a bit thicker than most of the other 5-ounce bars out there. I absolutely love this thing. First Mint is owned by First Majestic Silver. You probably have heard the name Keith Neumeyer. That's Keith Neumeyer's silver mining company. They mine the silver in Mexico, ship it to Nevada, right, where it gets transformed at their First Mint facilities into world-class bullion products. And then it goes straight to you. There's no COMEX, no LBMA involved in the process. It's fresh silver from the mint to the mine to you, minted in the USA. You can check them out at firstmint.com. Here, we'll run out there quickly. I'll show you their website. There we go. Firstmint.com. Here's some of their different products. Year of the Dragon. These are all unique to them. Absolutely beautiful. There's the bars, 5-ounce, 10-ounce, and 1 kilo. This is one of my favorites, that Indian Head Buffalo Round. Absolutely beautiful. And then the Year of the Snake. They also have a special discount code for you, for us basement dwellers. VIP RB. They got great service, great selection, and it's a company you can trust. So the situation, the overall environment for silver and gold right now, I think they'll say we're crazy to think that we could have silver and gold go up 5x, 10x, 20x. But I'm telling you, the conditions are in place. And when we look at, and we're going to look at this a little bit later, silver in particular right now, when we look at the chart on a weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis, remember Monday, June 30th, this Monday is the end of the quarter. It looks very, very interesting as we move into just the end of the year. And don't forget, I made a prediction of $60 silver by April Fool's Day, April 1st, 2026. I'll pay a heavy price if we don't hit it. You guys can come up with a punishment for me. I'll let you use your creativity. Send an email. Let me know what you want me to do if I'm wrong, but I think I'm going to be right. Now, let's move on here. Let's talk about the dollar. We have more proof from the dollar that we're reliving the 70s. The DXY index. This came from Dave Erfley. This is very important. The move this week in the world's reserve currency, the dollar, left the greenback down more than 10% for the year. If the dollar index stays below 98 by the end of Q2, which is this Monday, right, June 30th, it will be the biggest fall in the first half of the year since the start of the era of free-floating currencies in the early 1970s. Are you seeing all the similarities? Next, right, we want to see the similarities with 5x, 10x gold and silver price. But let's go look at the DXY index, because this is becoming very interesting. And I want to point something out to you, which is good news for us silver and gold investors. If we look at this chart, okay, and look at the last time that the dollar fell significantly, this was from 2001 to 2011. We started out up here with the DXY index around 125 and dropped down to 75. During that period, during that 10, 11-year period, let me look at my data here. We had the silver price, for instance, go from around $4 per ounce right here in 01 all the way to $50 per ounce, easily a 10x increase. So the similarities are eerie. Everywhere we look, we're getting data that's showing us that we're heading to stagflation. We know what happened the last time that the United States went through a stagflationary period. We had incredible results in both the gold and the silver markets. I do want to say thank you to channel sponsor First Mining Gold. Talking about gold, they're a Canadian gold development stage company with massive amounts of gold in the ground in Canada. Okay, they have the Duparquet project, which is in Quebec, and they have the Springpole project in Ontario, and they have another project, the Cameron project. All of these projects combined, you're talking millions of ounces of gold in the ground in Canada. They're a development stage company, so they're working through the permitting process, but the gold it's been established that the gold is there, the gold is in the ground. It's like being able to buy gold in the world's safest vault, stored safe in the ground in Canada. You can learn more about them at firstmininggold.com. And why do we want to pay attention to gold? Gold and silver, the world is changing. We know China is taking over, but this is shocking to take a look at this chart that shows what China is doing for gold. This comes from the Silver Academy. And to me, this chart really says it all. And I need to share the correct page for you guys. I apologize. There we go. Okay. If we look at this, what this chart shows us is Chinese U.S. Treasury holdings, okay, which is the white line, starting back here in 2012. Let me get my markers out for you. You can see that circle. So the white line up here is Treasury holdings. The gold line is their gold holdings. And as you can see, as we move through to 2025, 2026, although we're not there yet, we have seen a massive upswing in Chinese gold holdings while the Chinese have been dumping their treasuries. Let me get all those lines off there so you can see it. What this tells us in no uncertain terms is the Chinese are trading their paper and they're trading it for real metal. Okay, let's go back to silver quickly here. And here we go. Again, this came from our friends over at the Silver Academy, talking about the legends and the whales who are circling. Eric Sprott, okay, made a podcast appearance recently declaring that silver is heading for $70 or more, and he says that's just the start. Mike Maloney, typically a gold analyst, is now all in on silver, predicting a tenfold, like we just talked about, surge to $300 per ounce. And then we're going to talk about the billionaire, David Bateman, tech founder, recently bought almost 13 million troy ounces of physical silver, nearly 1.5% of global annual supply, directly from the COMEX, standing for delivery and withdrawal. This is not a trade, it's a statement. And then he went on to put out a whole series of tweets talking about why he believes that silver is an excellent value right now. Now, let's talk about what's going on right now in the silver market. We are at a battle for $35 per ounce. We've talked about that, guys, ad nauseum. Monday is the end of the quarter. Let's take a look at what people are saying about the weekly, monthly, and quarterly situation in the silver market right now. And let's start here. Boom. Okay. You know what? Let's start talking about the silver, about the weekly, because what's interesting is that if we close on Monday above $35 per ounce in the silver market, that will be a big confirmation, and that would be the highest close in the silver market on a weekly basis, okay, since August of 2011. And again, we just need to be a little bit above $35. Now, this one is another look at the weekly chart from our friend Silver Stocks Great. Let me make sure we got you on the right screen, which we do not. Hold on here. We're all over the place. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Okay. Silver is held up well on a weekly chart. It certainly doesn't look as bad as it might seem. So Friday was a down day in the silver, but when you look at a weekly chart, which is represented by each one of those candles, things are looking pretty darn good in the silver market. And it gets even more encouraging. Okay. We can't look at this one enough, because if it doesn't happen right now, it's going to happen real soon, which is a breakout of the cup and handle pattern. This is from Tavi Costa. And guys, again, this is a quarterly candle, but look at this cup, right? Going all the way back to 1980, right? And handle, but $37 when it comes to the quarterly close is the big key there. And when this breaks out, it is going to break out with fireworks like we have never seen before. Things have not looked better for precious metals, both gold and silver. I appreciate you joining me here in the basement. It's a big deal. You really are the most important part. Without you being here, there would be no Ron's Basement. And I know we love to get together and talk about gold and silver. I also want to say thank you to channel sponsor Ledger. They're the cryptocurrency hardware wallet security leader. And also our friends at MoonPay. They're the fintech leader, growing and innovating like crazy. You can check both those companies out as well. But number one, again, thank you for joining me here in the basement. You be well, and I'll see you. Yes,